As you can see, what you'll hear today, there's a lot of similarities with what South Jersey and New Jersey Natural are doing. One, first of all, because we believe it's the right path for the future, and also it's going to save our people and our customers a lot of money. But thank you all. It's great to join you all today here, and I'd like to thank Michelle and Ray and all the NJBIA team and the others who stand firm behind the business community, which is the economic engine of our state. And this year's Energy Forum really comes at a critical time. The conversation around clean energy transition has taken on renewed prominence here in New Jersey, and especially at the federal level. Today, the conversation not so much about where we're going. By and large, that has already been determined, and there's consensus around the need to reduce carbon emissions and our goals. And those goals have really been set. So for us now, the debate is centered around how we plan to get there, how quickly, how affordably, and how to protect our families and our businesses and economies, and yet how the global events of the last year really are going to be impacting what we're trying to do and the whole equation that we put together. So it's vital for our policymakers in the business community to understand the role that the gas industry can play in achieving the state's clean energy goals when it comes to each and every of those key questions. As I'll discuss shortly, federal policies begin to recognize this, and the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law are game changers in that regard, providing unprecedented funding not based on a handful of technologies, but on the ability to deliver what matters, carbon emission reductions. As I'll discuss shortly, our ultimate goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in a sensible and cost-effective way by decreasing the amount of energy that's consumed by our customers and decarbonizing our gas supply. This is an energy delivery network that is built, both operational and paid for, and the sooner we're able to get to work on projects that enable us to reduce carbon emissions in our system, the better our environment will be. And furthermore, the existing partnerships between the state's electric and gas industries will help New Jersey navigate the energy transition without sacrificing the great reliability our customers enjoy from dual energy systems. But before I begin, in an attempt to rein me in, the legal team has required me to produce our forward-looking statements to quell their stresses. I will do my best to stay within the guardrails and keep my hands and feet inside the car at all times. So this is really my first time in speaking to BIA. Thank you, Ray, for the invitation. I appreciate it. Just so you do know, my background, Ray talked about my career. I'm actually a third-generation utility employee. My grandmother oiled ball bearings at a generating station in Jersey City, and my father kept the lights on for more than 1 million people in Hudson and Bergen counties for more than 40 years. In case you're not aware about NJR, let me just provide a quick background. We're a diversified energy company. We have two core subsidiaries. New Jersey Natural Gas, the natural gas utility, and our largest subsidiary, operates an extensive network of over 7,500 mains and services on both T and D, and keeps people warm and businesses powered throughout the year. And there's more than 560,000 customers within our service territory. Our second largest subsidiary is NJR Clean Energy Ventures, which is one of the largest investors in commercial solar in New Jersey, and CEV has invested over $1.1 billion over the last decade in projects that support the renewable investment and the clean energy goals of the future. To that end, NJNG is converting to investing to deliver safe and reliable service at a reasonable cost to our customers, and while continuously driving down emissions from our own operations and the energy that we deliver. In short, what we're trying to do is to make NJNG the home heating utility of the future, the clean energy future specifically. And what does that mean? It means that we're helping customers save energy and money through programs that make energy efficiency equitable and affordable, while also cutting emissions, increasing efficiency, using less energy, regardless of the type, in the most effective way to reduce carbon emissions. And we have been leading those efforts since 2009. It means decarbonizing our fuel supply by delivering low-carbon fuels like renewable natural gas and green hydrogen to serve customers. And it means maintaining the energy resilience New Jersey families and businesses depend upon by not relying on any one set of infrastructure to heat our homes. And finally, it means helping New Jersey and our ratepayers avoid billions of dollars of new infrastructure costs by using the existing infrastructure to drive carbon reductions. Decarbonizing our energy supply while leveraging the existing gas network means decarbonizing building heat far more quickly than electrification alone, helping the state achieve our 2050 goals more quickly, more reliably, and more affordably. And with recent developments at the federal level, public policy has shifted in important ways as well. Today, an all of the above approach to clean energy technology and innovation makes these investments at scale more feasible than ever. So let's take a closer look at that. As I mentioned earlier, over the past year, we've seen two of the most efficient, significant pieces of federal legislation in a generation: the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act. For our company and New Jersey as a whole, we see these acts as an incredibly important shift that will not only accelerate investment in clean energy we know today, but drive the type of innovation and new emerging technologies that we need to achieve the climate goals we all support. The significance of the IRA can't be understated, especially here in New Jersey. What it effectively does is set as federal policy through the power of the tax code and all of the above approach to clean energy, including investment, innovation, and clean energy technology across the board. It funds clean hydrogen, renewable natural gas, biogas, carbon capture, and storage. It extends and strengthens funding for solar development, as well as an onshore and offshore wind development. And it funds energy storage, geothermal, hydro, energy efficiency, electric vehicles and charging infrastructure, and highly efficient gas equipment alike. In short, if a technology can demonstrate emissions reductions, this bill, generally speaking, will fund it. But not choosing winners and losers, the IRA promotes investment and innovation across clean energy technologies, and that allows competition, and the technologies that reduce carbon emissions most effectively and most quickly to prevail. As Mike had stated, we serve about 75% of the customers in the state, their heating needs, their home heating needs, and we cannot ignore the amount of significant investment that's been placed into service by our gas utilities that can be leveraged quickly and affordably and transformed to deliver decarbonized fuels. New Jersey's existing natural gas infrastructure is an asset with two key advantages. It's already been paid for and will be depreciated over the life. And the second advantage is that reach, touching 75%. So the quicker we can decarbonize our molecules, the more quickly we can achieve these goals. And that makes sense when you consider the number of other investments that need to be occurring on the electric side in order to achieve that. It doesn't say, however, that we should not work in partnership with electric, but it says we should and we can do this more quickly and affordably. And at NJNG, we've already been blazing a trail to prove out the value of green hydrogen and the low-carbon fuels in the real world. Last year, NJNG became the first utility, and I'll change the script a little bit here. We're actually the first utility in the nation to create a 100% green hydrogen project and inject all of that output into our distribution system. We're very proud of this project because what we're doing is taking 100% renewable electricity from an on-site solar array, converting it to zero-carbon hydrogen through electrolysis, and where we blend it into with our traditional fuel supply, natural gas, and serve our customers reliably. While this investment is but a small step, it's a giant leap into the clean energy future. This technology may be new to New Jersey, but it is important to remember that hydrogen is already safely deployed in such places as Europe, Singapore, and Hawaii for decades. Dozens more are being developed across the United States, and you heard Mike talk proudly about his project down at South Jersey. That's why we believe projects like this, our little Howe facility, and future hydrogen developments across New Jersey and the United States that use existing infrastructure to drive down carbon reductions makes the most sense. But one of the other big pillars that Mike talked about earlier is RNG. And I can't emphasize enough the value that RNG will play during our journey here. Our vision really is for biogas or recycled methane, whatever you want to call it. We want to make that existing resource and utilize it as energy. The byproducts of everyday human life, like trash, agricultural waste, sewage, food waste, they all produce methane, and that's a fact. We can and should work to reduce it through the waste stream and management practices. But the reality is it's organic matter. It decomposes, and with that comes a byproduct. In some cases, it's being utilized, but even in some cases, it's being flared and it really becomes a wasted resource. The solution is not that it only solves the question of what to do to control those emission sources, but it also improves local air quality, reduces net emissions, and significantly reduces the wasteful practice of flaring at these facilities. We see this as an opportunity for New Jersey to lead. Across the state, we have numerous landfills, wastewater treatment plants, and other organic waste sites. Some facilities capture and flare, which again is a waste of potential sustainable molecules. Other facilities capture and run less efficient engines on low-quality gas with impurities. We see the value in optimizing capture, refining the gas, and using it as a sustainable resource, which will improve localized odor and air quality at many of these sites. Altogether, this approach has the potential to dramatically reduce net emissions across our airshed by adding renewable molecules to our pipeline and reduce the same amount of geological or fossil gas upstream in our network. RNG is a win-win that offers immediate and significant way to reduce carbon emissions while also diminishing localized pollution and furthering important goal of environmental justice. When combined with green hydrogen as part of a broader decarbonization strategy, you'll begin to see the potential to provide significant amounts of decarbonized energy that can be delivered through existing pipeline systems like ours relatively quickly, driving lower emissions without a massively costly buildup of new infrastructure. And the ability of our distribution system to quickly and effectively reduce carbon emissions while complementing renewable energy resources positions us as a necessary component of the clean energy transition, not only for New Jersey, but the country. As recent federal legislation really reaffirms this position. We're witnessing the future of natural gas distribution systems as a complement to wind and solar, while facilitating the expansion of decarbonized fuels. On wind and solar side, the pipelines can be able to help solve any intermittency issues that may present themselves in the future. By taking these excess renewable resources during peak supply surpluses and using that energy to create green hydrogen, we can help prevent curtailment or the waste of carbon-free power. This green hydrogen is in turn stored in our existing natural gas infrastructure and repurposed to serve customers instead of sitting in batteries, which I think you all know naturally lose energy over time. If we're to grow solar and wind capacity to New Jersey's stated goals, we'll see significant excess generation, given the immediate varying demands in the years to come. Now think of these excesses being used to produce green hydrogen as an energy storage solution and an electric generation decarbonization opportunity. This not only avoids the loss of renewable resources, but it also uses wasted surplus energy to create zero carbon fuels, which are then delivered into an existing pipeline system to lower emissions and increase the wind and solar's environmental benefits for our state. And that's why it's a win-win for both businesses and the state. So how does this fit into the reliability context? Having a system that's designed to operate and meet peak demand on the coldest days of winter is critical to our state. This dual system approach significantly enhances energy resiliency. If we were to wholly electrify our energy consumption, for example, peak days would double our electric grid consumption, straining the existing grid to reliably deliver power when it's needed most. To expand the electric grid to keep up with the energy demand would require massive investments borne by ratepayers to abandon a home heating network that can serve the same purpose. In addition, to create this large and expensive and avoidable cost, it would come at the expense of reliability. Remember, New Jersey Natural Gas's system, now not just NJNG, but all utilities have a $17 billion head start on the investment that's been made already. And the gas distribution system effectively handles the energy load with far fewer outages than the electric system in a given year. At the current state of demand, something that is not often discussed when we talk about the energy debate. This is not to diminish the critical role that electric utilities play, but to understand that these systems are different and complement one another when it comes to reliability, resiliency, and the lives, livelihoods, and economies that can be put at risk during outage events. You know, one example that I have up here on the board is during August of 2020, Tropical Storm Isaias came through New Jersey. And in our service territory alone, there were 500,000 customers that were out of power. Our send-up on those days went up by more than 50%, and people used our service to keep the power on while they continued to work successfully at home. Remember, this is during the pandemic, and people were at home. In the future, we'll be able to keep their power on as well, but that power will be done by decarbonized fuels. And that's how gas infrastructure can complement the electric system. We don't believe resiliency should be sacrificed, especially as we continue to see storms and extreme weather affect our state. So as I conclude today, it's important to reiterate the investment we're seeing at the federal level and the message that it conveys to our industry. From the Hydrogen Shot initiative announced earlier by the Biden administration to the sweeping funding of the IRA, we're seeing firsthand an all-of-the-above approach to the clean energy future. This message is clear. Let competition, investment, and innovation play out to get the best clean energy solutions, and do so while reducing carbon emissions as quickly as possible. By decarbonizing our fuel sources and making critical investments in renewable resources, business is in alignment with pursuing practical approaches to decarbonization. And this strategy is being affirmed not just here, but at academic institutions and countries across the globe. So as we gather here today, I can say at NJNG, we're confident in our delivery system's reliability and resilience. We're confident in the world-class infrastructure's ability to deliver decarbonized fuels of the future. We're confident in the signals sent by the federal government to do an all-the-above approach to lower carbon emissions. And we're excited to continue to set the standard of what the natural gas utility of the future will look like. I want to thank you all for your time and for joining today's discussion. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks.